Hey, cabin crew, just a heads up. I'm going to be playing my friend Courtney's trailer for her podcast, Haunts. Take a listen.
Everybody loves a good ghost story. From the renowned haunting of the Amityville Horror House to the lesser-known curse of the Bassano Vase, legends of the ghostly and macabre have been fascinating and frightening us for centuries. But have you ever wondered if there's any truth behind the lore? Over the last 8 years that I've spent as a paranormal researcher, I have constantly asked one important question. Is this a hoax, or could it truly be a haunt? I'm Courtney Hayes, host of the podcast Haunts, where every week I dissect another ghostly legend in an effort to find the truth that lies within. Listen to Haunts for free on your favorite podcasting app and help me to unveil the unknown.
All right, so again, that was my friend Courtney, her trailer for her Haunts podcast, which is excellent. Courtney's writing style is phenomenal, and the way that she tells the story is even better. So please go give her some love. Go follow her on Instagram at Haunts. Also, add her to your playlist. Make sure you get automatic downloads checked off so you can always be up to date on her new episodes. But for today's episode, we're going to have the pleasure of speaking with Joe, the founder of Astute Paranormal Group. Joe, along with his team members, Kyle, Eric, and Mike, have created a unique group that is driven by their passion for the paranormal. Unlike other groups that may be motivated by the pursuit of views or money, Astute Paranormal Group is solely focused on their love for contacting spirits and providing closure for those who seek it. Led by Joe's expertise and experience, the team has welcomed new members recently who also share their dedication to the paranormal. Together, they have developed a reputation for their astute observations and methods of investigation, which have helped them uncover evidence of paranormal activity in some of the most challenging locations. And one, by the way, place that they have investigated is Hinsdale House. So that one, I definitely know, probably gave them a little bit of a ride. They also have investigated Selma Mansion, Bolton Mansion, and Rockwood Mansion, just to name a few. Now, during this conversation that you're about to listen to, because it was pre-recorded, we will dive deeper into their experiences, philosophy, and approach to the paranormal. We will explore the challenges they face in their investigations and how they manage to stay objective in the face of seemingly unexplainable phenomena. We will also discuss their efforts to help those who seek closure and how they balance their passion for the paranormal and their commitment to ethical investigation practices. Of course, we're also going to get into a little bit about their careers. They are actually police officers. And I just found that so cool because, to be honest, we all know that police officers really dedicate their life to keeping our communities safe, us as citizens safe, and work long hours, long shifts, and are called out to duty whenever. I mean, it could be a drop of a hat. So I asked Joe to how he and the rest of them balance being police officers and also getting out there to investigate, but also how they use their training as a police officer in the paranormal field. So the first question that I asked Joe was just to tell me a little bit about himself, where he came from, how he started, and what was his first paranormal experience. So I want you to sit back, take a listen, make a drink, kick your feet up, and let's get into some good conversation with Joe from Astute Paranormal Group.
Absolutely. So I am born and raised in they call it the great state of New Jersey. It has its moments. Um, I've been doing the paranormal stuff, professionally about 5 years, not professionally about 10 years. Um, like I was saying earlier, well, you didn't hear me say it earlier. We try to, when talking about skeptics and like what we do, things of that nature, we always like to make paranormal the last possible option. So when I started this team, I'll go a little bit back on me. About 5 years ago, I started with a different team, and I was with them for about 2 years, 2.5 years. It just didn't. We didn't seem to click towards the end. I had like my own personal things going on. At the time I had just started with my department. I was still enlisted in the military, so I was in and out all over the place, and I couldn't make certain investigations. I couldn't make every single event, so that's when things sort of went astray. So I took about a year and a half break, and then I was sitting down one day and I said, you know what? It's time. It's time to get everything rolling again. So I got a good crew of people that I knew loved what we did. And we started Astute Paranormal Group, and I am actually surprised on how much it's taken off. It's flooring to me. Like, we love it, how much support we're getting. So yeah, we've just been rolling and rolling and rolling, and we're setting up new investigations every day. We're trying to do different things to sort of stand out, not be the typical ghost hunters, anything like that. We like to push things to a different level, but also bring like a human aspect to it, like a comic relief to it as well.
Of course, of course. So tell me a little bit about what are some of the unique challenges in investigating the paranormal that you've come across, Joe?
So what I've seen through my experience is interference. Interference is a huge thing. If you guys follow my page and see the videos that I make, I talk about how I have a love-hate relationship with EVPs. A lot of interference, a lot of trying to not let your mind say it was something. If I'm sitting in an old creaky house, right? So in addition to the interference, it's, you need to think about what's real, what's actually happening. If I'm sitting in an old creaky house and we have all our devices set up and we're communicating, everyone's on edge, we're all locked in, ready to go, and you hear like a creak or a crack, most people are going to say, "Oh my God, did you hear that?" Yes, I heard it. And that is something, could it be paranormal? Absolutely, it can. But we need to think, well, this is a very old house. This isn't something paranormal. This wasn't a spirit, anything like that. So the interference and being skeptical in your own ways is a huge thing. Another thing that we deal with are skeptics in general, people that are skeptics. They're like, "Oh, you made that up. Someone's breathing, someone's doing this, someone's doing that." I wouldn't, we have no intention of, being these huge TV shows that do all these wild things and hear these crazy sounds. We just do it to have fun. So that's something that like I tell people, and I'd have to really like break it down. Again, like I said before, it all leads back to making something paranormal your last possible resort. So by doing that, and if I can scientifically and theoretically prove to whomever I'm speaking with that is a skeptic, if I can give them every single reason that it is not that it is paranormal, if I can rule everything out, and then a lot of times you have people be like, "Oh man, that's spooky," and I'm like, "Yeah, now you're finally getting it." So those are like the two biggest challenges, dealing with interference and dealing with the skeptics that I've encountered so far.
So, Joe, let me take you back to the first time that you had your first experience, because you know that we all, even myself, we all have started as skeptics. So when was it proven to you the first time that the paranormal was real?
So my very, very first true experience, this isn't I'm not gonna count, hearing something like weird, something that, because I was a skeptic. I loved it, I was obsessed with it, but like I needed this to be real. I needed something to be literally thrown in my face and say, look, here you go, you big meanie. This is paranormal. So my first really big experience that happened to me. It was the Devil's Tower in Alpine, New Jersey. Alpine, New Jersey, it's a beautiful area. I believe it's the richest zip code outside of 90210. So I was still in high school. Me and a couple of my buddies were like, "Yo, hey, let's take a ride up to the Devil's Tower. Let's get weird tonight." And I was like, "All right, cool, let's do it." Now, if I recall correctly, what you need to do is, well, let me rephrase that. The story behind the Devil's Tower is there was a man and a woman, they were married, they lived on an estate. The woman found out that the man was having an affair. She went up to the tower and she unfortunately hung herself from the tower. And they say, the rumor, word on the street is if you drive around the tower backwards 3 times, that's when she'll appear and things will happen. And to me, I'm like, it's probably like 2:30 in the morning at this point. I'm super tired, and they're like, "Mom, we gotta drive around. We gotta drive around." And I'm like, "All right, I'll do it just to say I did it." I wasn't expecting anything from this. And just to preface, it was a warm summer night. I think when we got there, it was probably like 75 degrees. And those from New Jersey know that New Jersey can get quite humid and quite yucky sometimes. So we drive around the Devil's Tower backward 3 times. And we pull back into where we were parked. And I'm like, all right, nothing's happening. And we get out. And one of my friends was like, look up in the tower. And I'm like, what? And you see a very faint white figure. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's probably the reflection from the light. That's probably, it could be an animal. It could just be our eyes playing tricks on us because we're so tired. And then about a minute later, it got freezing cold. I don't know what the exact temperature was, but keep in mind it was 75 and humid. We all got freezing cold, and wind just started blowing, and it was freezing. And then we looked up again, and we saw it was very, very apparent that there was something up there. And we started taking pictures, and at this time, we didn't have any crazy phones. I think I had like my Samsung 2T239, so the picture quality wasn't all there. As we started taking pictures and we're all like bugging out and freaking out, it stopped. It went back to being warm. Nothing was back up in the tower. I looked at my friends. I said, we need to get the hell out of here now. And we hauled ass out of there. And that was my first true experience that really threw it
Oh
in my
my,
face.
that is awesome. I mean, that's a great story, Joe. So let me ask you now, going into your group with Astute and the guys that you have found a good relationship to do this all with. Where how similar and how different are you guys? Like, what's your balance in the team?
Perfect. That's actually like a really great question. When I first decided to start the team, I wanted to find people that were passionate. I didn't need people that had, would it have been cool to have people with a bunch of experience? Absolutely. But in my mind, I was like, I know enough where I can teach people. If people truly want to learn what to do, I can teach them, they can be receptive, and we can watch them grow. So by doing that, I spoke to Kyle at first. So Eric and Kyle, we all work together. Mike is a friend of Eric that kind of like tagged along and we eventually liked his vibe. So in talking with Kyle and Eric, when I was on the older team, I tell them, hey, here's my card, check us out. And they were like, you really do this? Like, we're obsessed with this. This is so cool. So that's how we all kind of linked up. Those were our similarities that we've experienced, that we both like had that love for the paranormal. And when it was time to create my own team, the first thing I did was I reached out to Kyle. I was like, look, now's like the chance. I'm starting my own team. I need people. he was like, yeah, but I don't really know much about it. I'm like, look, as long as you care, as long as you have some sort of heart and you're receptive to everything that we go over, I can teach you everything that I know. So we did that. And then we said, let's expand a little bit more. We got a third. We got Eric in on it. Um, we did our first investigation at Selma Mansion, and that was really like the test run to kind of see where everyone stands. Like you said, what roles, how people interact with each other. And definitely I took on the lead investigator role knowing it was going to be a lot, and I'd probably want to pull my hair out of my head that I do not have, which I have been doing. It can be a lot sometimes. What Eric sort of brings to the table is I consider Eric now like my right hand man. Kyle, of course, we're all very busy. Kyle has a lot going on, so I don't like to push too much on everybody. I sort of like to be like consistent and fair. It goes back to when I was on my previous team where I was kind of shoved to the side because of my schedule and what I had going on, and I made that a point that I would never let that happen. So Eric has really taken on the role as my right-hand man. We were able to get Kyle in on it as well. He's doing more. Kyle was one of the originals. Kyle's wife, Jenna, she's great. She helps out a lot. She takes notes and things like that. And here comes Mike. Mike comes into the picture. Eric comes to me and says, hey, one of my buddies really wants to do this. He says like he can sense things and feel things. So we're like, all right, cool. We'll bring him along. He can tag along, see how it works out. Mike came to the Bolton Mansion, and we instantly clicked off the rip. He fit in so well with the team, and I like to make everything like a team discussion or group discussion because I don't like to consider it my team. I consider it our team. Everyone does everything equally. We all have equal say and whatnot. So we brought Mike on, and he just kind of clicked so well. So everyone's sort of fitting in. We're still figuring it out. It's only been about 3.5 months since the team has officially started. And something that I did not announce yet, which I guess we can do it on here, was we do have 2 more members that have been added to the team. We have Erica. Erica, she will play as, I know we have an Eric and an Erica now. It could be confusing. Erica is taking the role of our historian. Again, people hear what we do and they say, oh, I want to come along. And my whole thing is, hey, if you can, we're at a point now where we're good on investigators. If you can contribute something to the team, I will absolutely bring you on. So Erica's been doing our research. She is so great. She's so thorough. She really digs deep, pulling records from houses, all the owners, people that have lived there. She's amazing. And if you guys have also noticed, we started ticking up our videos a little bit. So I was able to bring on another one of our colleagues, Maurice, and all this is going to be announced on the page probably tomorrow. He's now our official cameraman and videographer. So like I said before, we're all trying to find certain places for everybody, and we're slowly getting there. It's a process, but we started off crawling, now we're walking, and eventually we're going to be running.
Joe, that is just so cool how you all came together like that. That's the best story that I've talked to. I haven't talked like this on with a couple paranormal groups. It's just been in chat, but that is the most well thought out planning of a paranormal group that I think I've ever heard, to be honest. And I commend you for doing that, because let's be honest, YouTube has taken a turn for the worst in the paranormal field. I don't know how you feel about it. I'm thinking, because of what you just said, that you agree with me that it seems like everybody and their mother are a medium.
Yeah, I am so happy you said that. Oh my, yes.
Joe, can I do a little, how do you want to say it? I'll do a little play of how it goes now, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Couple girls walk in, very short shirts, big boobs, all of this, all made up. And then all of a sudden, I feel something. Oh, really? I did too. Did you feel that? Because I felt it too. I was just going to tell you that I felt it. Oh,
Oh,
I
what do you think it is? Wow, did somebody die here? Someone died. I'm sorry to cut you off, but did someone die here? Someone died in almost every single place that you're going to go. So yes, somebody did die there. Doesn't mean they're still there though.
right. And the other one, the other big one, I feel labored breathing. Well, when somebody dies, they labor breathe, people.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's actually really funny you bring that up. So we work with a network of actual mediums, extremely talented shaman. I'll kind of preface this if you want to bring this into a different episode. We do more than just hunting ghosts. We don't go out there with, a REM pod doing crazy stuff. We really take this seriously. We take all the precaution, everything that we need to do. So if we have a location, as you guys saw, I just announced that we're going to White Hill. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have one of my mediums or shaman, believe it or not, they can actually remotely read these locations and they can give us a full rundown of what we can expect, what to be wary of. So we will go there and knowing and making communication with names and people, and they have been proven spot on time after time after time. Again, going back to how we do our investigations, we'll have our medium or shaman go in, read it, give us a little bit of a rundown, an actual medium or shaman, just to throw that in there. Give us a rundown of what to expect. Before we even start the investigation, we always start with an opening prayer, just to make sure that we are protected in what we do, because a lot of people don't know you're messing with this stuff. Some really negative things can happen. So we'll go through our investigations and our shamans will be watching and be like, hey, this is going on. This doesn't look good. And if our shamans say it's time to get out, we drop what we're doing, we haul ass, and we get out of there. And every time we're done with an investigation, we always say a closing prayer, we sage ourselves, and we also send a picture of ourselves to one of our mediums or shamans for them to kind of give us a read to make sure that we're not bringing anything back with us. So that's something really important that people need to understand if they ever want to get into this. It's more than just throwing up a REM pod and asking, are you here with me right now? Because there could be something there with you that exactly, there could be something there with you that wants to do something bad.
Well, that's my point of what I said earlier, how I was doing the little play, because my problem is there's so many people out there, Joe, that are not putting the respect into it. Yes. I don't like the fact that you are all forgetting that these people once lived a beautiful life. They once were the people that built and founded where we are today. There's people that worked with their hands to build things. And I don't know, I guess maybe I'm just taking it a little off kilter. I'm very serious about it. I just don't like people, that's why I said the way that you came, not only where you are now, but what you built from is so much more than just, I'm 23 years old, I want to become a millionaire, so I'm going to go ahead and do the new trend, which is become a paranormal investigator, will say I am. And then, have special guests and this and that. You're doing this in the way that it should be done. You're doing research. You're letting people know, hey, this house isn't just a haunted house. This house has people in it that are haunting it, like this name and that name. And these were people that were, what they did in their life. And that's Absolutely. Why I'm trying to interview more people like yourself and other paranormal groups, because I want it to be exposed what there are real ones out there doing the right thing. And I think that's where skeptics are being misinterpreted, because they're watching YouTube with 20-year-olds doing this as a way to not work for the rest of their life. There are people that are putting their life into it, into this. This is work. This is research. They're learning about where the house's history was. Who were the people living in there? And that's why I said I love the fact of where you started from, where you based the reason why you're doing this. And I want to commend you on that. And I think
Thank
more
you. Thank
paranormal
you.
groups need to be interviewed. I don't hear many be interviewed because I think they're all being wrapped up into one. They're YouTube people. And there's not investigators that are not on YouTube. There are people like Astute Paranormal Group that are police officers that are not only protecting our communities, but are also going out there and, investigating places and finding out more about the paranormal, and that there's still important people walking this earth. We just can't see them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So now, I know that you had said about the prayer, and I remember when I used to watch Tennessee Wraith Chasers, they always started with a prayer, and I always loved those guys. So besides that, though, can you walk us through what your typical investigative process is, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll start, we will find the location. Um, as you saw, Farrah, when we were setting this up, my schedule is all over the place. So there was little something here, something there. So the first thing we do is I scope the location and I look at available dates. So a lot of people don't know is when you do these investigations properly, money comes out of your pocket. You pay these locations to go there and investigate. Like you look at the Conjuring House, which I've been to about 2 years ago. It's gonna run you about $1,300 to investigate there. Now, granted, is it well worth it if you have the passion? Absolutely. So don't mean to go off track with that. So we'll find the location. We'll look at the available dates that they have open. I normally reach out to them. I'm working on setting up a system where somebody on the team plays like a quote unquote secretarial role because I've been doing all of it, and sometimes it is a lot. So we'll find location, we'll scout the location, we'll get dates. I'll look at it, list of dates. We have a group chat with the whole team. I will send the dates out to the whole team and say, hey, let's agree on a date. Which day can we make it? I can't do this one, I can't do that one, but I can do this one. Cool, we can do that. We can do that. Awesome. I'll go ahead. I'll book it. Everyone will pay their part. I'll book the location. I'll announce it on the social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. We're really pushing harder on Instagram right now. Facebook is great, but we have a better following, a better audience, as I got linked up with Farrah on Instagram, and it's great. So we'll announce it. We'll get everything rolling. We'll start doing our research immediately. I'll give the information to Erica. And within like 2 days, Erica has like 3 pages of everything that went down. And then we'll devise a plan. We'll see. Is this a big location? Is this a small location? Depending on that, we'll have our medium go in. The mediums we work with, they are extremely, extremely talented, powerful people. Just to give an idea, not to go off track again, my brother had a demonic possession in his house, and we were able to use the shaman to kind of banish it and make it go away. So it's every day they're just proving to me how amazing and strong they are. So we'll have a medium go in, give us a read, let us know what to expect. After we get that, all our information, we'll compare what the medium said to what Erica has. We cross-reference it. We're like, wow, he was spot on as always. And then we'll create a plan how we're gonna investigate. Is this a bigger location? Like we went to Rockwood Mansion about a month ago. That was a huge location. So we had, Team A and Team B. We split up. We make sure that we were in areas where there wasn't any cross interference if we were doing EVPs. So we create the actual plan of how we're going to do it. Once we get to about the time, it's time for the investigation. Something I love doing, and I will always do this for every investigation. Every time before we investigate, the team goes out and gets dinner together. We go out, we hang out, we talk about what's going on, not just paranormal, just like everything in general. Our lives, what's going on. After we grab dinner, we'll go to the location. we'll meet the curator or whomever the owner is that's, letting us use the property, whoever is assigned to that detail. We will go around, we'll do our walkthrough. Right, normally go live on the social media for the walkthrough. Once the walkthrough is done, they'll kind of say, all right, guys, have at it. We'll go out, we'll say our opening prayer, we'll get all our equipment together. The way I like to do the equipment is, if you guys don't know, this equipment is extremely, extremely expensive. So when we get out all the equipment so we can have, proper accountability of it, I like to do whomever takes one piece of equipment, that is your piece for the night. You are accountable for that for the night. So let's say I take a REM pod and a music box. Every time we leave a room, I'll make sure I have a REM pod and a music box with me. That's the only thing I'm worrying about. Everyone has the other pieces of equipment that they worry about. So after we do our opening prayer and assign the equipment, we'll get to it. We kind of feel it out. I don't, like we spoke about before, how everyone claims they're a medium. I make it very clear, I have no abilities. I don't portray that I do. Can I pick up on if something's going on in a room like everybody else can? Yeah, if the room's really heavy, if it's cold. That's the basic stuff that I can pick up on. And we'll kind of take it from there. Hey, do we want to start doing some EVPs? Cool, we'll do EVPs. We'll get some of the equipment out. We'll get a tripwire out, REM pods, spirit box, maybe do some sensory deprivation, and we kind of switch it up in what we do in all the rooms. And sometimes we review the EVPs on the spot. We didn't do that with our recent investigation. I actually still have to review that. That's on my to-do list today, as long as go to Trader Joe's and, be a normal person. So sometimes
I love Trader Joe's.
Oh my God, yes. Sweet potato gnocchi all the way. So sometimes we'll review on the spot, sometimes we won't. Then we just kind of, and then we'll take breaks in between the investigation. Like we were at the Hinsdale House. It's a very dark location. There's very, very dark entities there. So we'll stop and we'll take a break. Hey, how's everyone feeling? Everyone feeling anything? And we kind of take it for what it is. Do we need to take a longer break? Hey, go outside, get some air, things like that. Don't just keep yourself trapped in here. Just know you can go get air. And then we'll finish up the investigation. Again, it varies what we do in each room, each area. Spirit box, REM pods. We started doing a little more of the sensory deprivation. And then that'll be it. We'll say if everyone's satisfied with, what we've done and what we have, then we will pack everything up. Before we get into the cars and head out, we'll do our closing prayer. I personally sage all my team members. We send pictures to our mediums and shamans to make sure we're cleared of all attachments, anything like that. And we suffer from a massive paranormal hangover the next day because we're all exhausted, and 9 times out of 10, we're going to be stuck working a 16-hour shift the next day.
Oh, my Lord. I don't know how you guys do it with that. I give you complete kudos. Seriously, Joe. And again, I hope I said it before, but again, thank you for your service. I also didn't know you were military.
Yes.
So definitely thank you for you and your family's service to the military, because of course everyone forgets about the family, goes through it just as much as the service member. Yeah, and thank you, of course, again for all of your, you're all police officers and protecting our communities, especially now more than ever. But another question I wanted to ask is how do I want to ask this? What are the misconceptions with the devices that you use? Because, I do know they are very expensive. Mm-hmm. But, when does it come to a point where you got to stop being skeptical? Because when I listen to an EVP and I'm the one that takes it, and I know that nobody's talking and I hear something, or, okay, I see people put a REM pod down, they put their hand to touch it. Okay, I see that it takes a person to go over and touch it. Everyone is 6 feet back, but yet you still got skeptics. How do you go against that, Joe? Like, how do you How, were some of even your teammates at first skeptical about the different instruments that you use? How have you overcome that from the audience and from any of your team members, if any, that they were skeptical about it?
Yeah, so that's actually a great question, and we do get that a lot. Well, how do you know that's really a ghost? That's probably just, you standing next to it or somebody behind it. So it's really, the answer to that is extremely simple. There are steps that we take to mitigate as much interference as possible. The first thing with EVPs, I'm going to try to pull this up as I'm talking about it. I created a quick list of rules. Not rules, I call it tips and tricks when it comes to the EVPs. I'm just going to talk randomly about it until I can pull up these lists. So EVPs, like I said, I have an extreme love-hate relationship with them because they take so much time. Granted, you can get some of the absolute best footage off of an EVP. So I'm going to pull this up now. I apologize. I probably should have had it ready. It should be up here in 1 second.
You're good, Joe. Take your time. Take your time.
So the first thing, all right, perfect. Here it is. So the quick EVPs, I have this. I'm just going to read off the little thing that I made. EVPs, tips and housekeeping. EVP stands for electronic voice phenomena. They are captured using an audio recorder. Spirits find it easier to communicate through the white noise when they are not able to manifest the energy to vocalize to the human ear. Below is a step-by-step guide to maximum success with EVPs. First one is find a quiet, calm space. Once recording has begun, everyone with the exception of the investigator speaking must remain silent. Never, ever whisper during an EVP. So to touch on that, if we're doing an EVP and somebody whispers by accident, I will out loud say, hey, that was Kyle saying that, because we don't want to take that for something that it's not. We will all introduce ourselves to the spirits. If anyone hears some form of interference, example, trucks, cars, stomach growling, call it out so it can be noted during your view of extraction evidence. And asking multiple questions, give the spirits time to answer. That's something that my team, we really did struggle with at first, and we're slowly getting better. Every now and then, I'll chime in. One person will be like, can you tell me your name? The next person repeating, how old are you? Like, you have to give them a second. Sometimes it takes a little more for them to answer because they're trying to manifest the energy. So that's one of these biggest rules. Give a good buffer. Give a good question. Don't just grab the buffer. All these where we kind of go by how the room is. If there's a strong draft, hey, we're not going to put the box there because there's a chance it can be picked up as movement. So we take it for every little aspect and take everything into accountability. And all this is noted when I'm reviewing the evidence and I tell people this, and that because of this. However, how could that have happened? And if a skeptic comes to me and says, well, that's not real, I'll ask them, all right, tell me how then. Tell me how I made that device light up after I just told you everything. And they'll just look at me and be like, I can't.
See, that's why I am so glad that I'm talking to you before any other group, because you guys seem like you have all the stops down pat from beginning to end. And that's a beautiful thing, because you are bringing respect to the paranormal community. So bravo. Really.
Thank you.
Truly, bravo. Dude, it's like you've been doing this for like 50 years, Joe. Holy shit. What's the best EVP captured to date that you've gotten?
So I think the absolute best EVP was when we were in the Hinsdale House, and I might have it on our page. Actually, you know what I can do after this, Farrah? I'm going to send it to you because I do have it saved. When we were in the Hinsdale House.
Send it to me, yeah, because I'll put it in the editing.
When we were in the Hinsdale House, I am not going to lie, I was terrified. I was so scared because there's like bad stuff there, and like I have enough going on in my life where I really don't want to bring anything home. So that's when I was kind of a little more on edge. So at the end of the investigation, if you look at the videos, we were being, provoked all night. We weren't provoking, but the spirits were provoking us. And something, if you're staying in, and this is a tip for a new investigator, if you plan on staying in your location that you're investigating, grab an EVP, introduce yourself, ask the spirits, is it okay if I sleep here tonight? Will I be safe if I sleep here tonight? And the one that really got me was I asked that. We were asking the questions nonstop. The first one was, I asked if I can stay here. I got yes. Everyone else got no answer. And then I asked another EVP, is it okay for everyone else to stay in here? Will I be safe? And you can hear in the EVP, he must be scared. And I heard that during my review, and I was like, okay,
oh my God,
that was it. That's the money shot.
Oh my God. Yeah, send that to me, because I will totally put it in the episode so people can hear that. That gave me chills just hearing it from you. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was definitely yeah, that one got me. And another thing I can tell people, my big thing, me personally, if a spirit says my name, I lose my mind. That's when I always get super scared. I hate when they say my name, and they always do it. So that's my kryptonite.
Well, I could see that, though, because that would probably be where that would turn the tables for me, and I would be tremendously scared, because that means that even if I might say, hey, stay where you are, you're not allowed to follow me. Wonder if it does. Again, we don't know the through in and throughout of the paranormal. We can sage all day long, but we don't know for sure if it's a demon, especially, it has a lot of power to be able to follow you and wreak havoc on your life. So how do you think, you being in the military and becoming a cop, and actually all of you in law enforcement, how do you think that has made your paranormal investigations even more thorough?
So that's something I'm really happy you brought it up, because I was going to mention that when I was on the other team, somebody that I'm still extremely, extremely good friends with, he's an extremely gifted medium. Him and I always investigated together, and he can see and hear things that normal people can't. However, I have, even though my hearing is incredibly bad from the military, I have acquired a certain sense of situational awareness. I can pick up on certain things immediately. If somebody is saying something in the room or someone's feeling something, I don't know something's up by feeling what they're feeling, because I don't have that ability. I'm able to sort of like see their facial expressions, how their body stands. So I've picked up this, really great situational awareness where I can hear even the slightest things sometimes that other people be like, no, we didn't hear that. And they're like, no, it just happened. This happened. We saw this. We saw that. So me personally, I'm able to pick up on all the little things that aren't like spiritual based, as in like abilities, things like that. And my team's also the same way. Like if you see us doing an EVP, we look like statues. No one's moving. We're controlling our breathing because we want to make sure we are getting everything for what it is. So that's something that we definitely have. We have that extremely heightened sense of situational awareness around us and what's going on. And if somebody's feeling something in their room that they're not saying, it's as easy as, hey, what's up? Are you good? And they're like, no, no, tell me what's up. Well, I got this like pain right here in my stomach. I got a pain on my back. It feels like it's burning. Push comes to shove, I'll go and I'll look, that person has a scratch on their back, which has happened, not what my team has happened, but on my previous team, it had happened. Somebody got cut really bad and they're like, no, it's fine. I'm like, no, let's check it out. And they had a scratch on their back.
I was just going to ask you, what has been the most terrifying experience of you all as a group?
That's a really good question. I want to say I think the scariest experience that we've had so far, hands down, was at the Hinsdale House on this team. So we went to the Hinsdale House, and if you guys saw our walkthrough on social media, once we started doing the walkthrough, our devices were going absolutely crazy. And I was physically affected in there. Me, I consider myself in decent shape. I run, about like 10 miles a week. I try to keep in good shape. And as I'm walking in this house, I just got so winded out of nowhere. And I'm like, what is going on? I got extremely tired. Our devices were going crazy. And we set a REM pod. So in the Hinsdale House, there's a kitchen and the stairs go up and it breaks off into like two separate areas. We set a REM pod and a tripwire at the top of those stairs, and that REM pod was going absolutely crazy the whole night. And the reason behind that was whatever was there wanted us to go up there. And something that I mentioned in my videos before, if a spirit wants you to go somewhere, you do not go. You go there when you're ready, because especially in a location like that, you don't exactly know what's waiting for you. So we told the spirit, go ahead.
I know. I was just going to ask you, what did you think of that little closet upstairs?
Oh, where the mirror is in the Hinsdale House?
Oh, yeah. That's my favorite place. That's my favorite place. Granted, I've never been there, but I'm talking about when I watch investigations. That is the place that gives everyone. I personally think that there is some type of like portal / vortex there for like the comings and goings. But what was your experience with that area?
So per our shaman, that is not necessarily a portal. It's not an active portal. I can take a picture of mirror and send it to one of our, we call them spiritual advisors. I can take a picture, send to them. They can be like, hey, yeah, that's 100% a portal. It's not an active portal, but there is dark stuff that comes in and out of there. And technique that we did was called scrying or scrying. Some people call it differently, where you essentially look in the mirror straight ahead. You point a light in the mirror, and if something wants you to see something, you will see something. And we were doing that, and we were seeing like people walking around in the mirror. It was very brief. There's no way, unfortunately, to record that because it's what you're seeing. Could it have been my mind playing tricks on me and me wanting to see something? That is absolutely true. It could have been that. That's why I really didn't post that on the videos, on the review. I mentioned it, but I didn't go into detail because, again, I can't scientifically prove that. So we try to make sure everything we do put out can be scientifically proved. But
Yeah, but you gotta also, Joe, share your experiences because there might be people out there that want to tell people what they've seen and they're scared to. So the
Absolutely.
fact you can say now, okay, now look, I'm gonna post now this is our actual investigation, but in case you want to know what my experience was to help maybe any of you out there that don't know what to say, what you've seen, because some people, when they've scryed, they have seen where their faces droop,
Hmm.
like they get older, they get black eyes. There's something that will come up behind them. Now, hearing what you experienced, I've never heard that before. And that's like really intriguing because that almost seems to me like whatever it is, because okay, it's not proven, but it was your experience. Looking into that mirror, seeing people walking, is that a different time period? Is that like, is it showing you future,
Yeah,
past,
and
you
so
know?
that goes to the reasoning why I made the decision not to go too far on it because I can't recall um what they look like, what they were wearing. It was very brief. I saw people walking for a second. So I like to have some sort of sustenance to it, if that's the correct word. I can say when our one of our spiritual advisors who came with us, he previously went to the Hinsdale House and his eyes did turn black in that mirror. He did tell me that, which is something that was
Ooh,
a little crazy. Yep.
goodness. Now, do you think the Hinsdale, do you think it's the house or the land in your experience?
So it's a little bit of both. Absolutely. And like I said before, we take the utmost precautions. When our medium read the house, he was speaking with one of the Indian chiefs of the land, and he asked permission if we can come there, and he said yes, but bring us offerings. So before we even got to the nitty gritty, and this was very unique to Hinsdale House, we blessed the land completely. We kind of got into character. We weren't jumping around, acting like Native Americans, but we put on Native American music. We were walking around, we were saging the property, and we had little bundles of tobacco. And our medium told us that's what the chief wanted. So throughout the property, we placed bundles of tobacco as a giving, an offering to the land, thanking them for allowing us to be there. The giving tree, the offering tree, a little about a couple steps away from the main property. It's also connected to the property. We bought arrowheads and we left them there. So that was the one location where it was unique as to where we blessed not only the house we were in, but we also had to bless the land. And that was per our medium, and the chief requested that.
That is awesome. And that's what I heard everybody does do is you got to put something. I even put tobacco in the cave that's behind my house
Yeah.
before I started investigating it because I knew that the Cherokee and Chickasaw were here. So we did that. We put tobacco and I think we got a better I don't know how you want to say it. We got better uh
Results.
yes, results. It wasn't it, because at first it felt a little heavy and then it kind of gotten a little lighter after we did that. Not saying that I don't still feel heavy when I walk in there sometimes, but it's kind of balancing out, I guess I want to say. but
No, absolutely.
two more questions and then we'll wrap it up, Joe. But my now going back to all you when you started this as a group,
Hmm.
pick one of your guys that was more of a I like it, but it can't be real. What was his turning point?
So it wasn't any of our original members. It wasn't Kyle or Kyle or Eric, excuse me. It was Mike. Um, Mike was like, yeah, man, like I've always been into it, but like I've had experiences, but I haven't really like had it thrown in my face. Like I don't really. So we took him to Bolton Mansion, and he walked out, And he was like, wow, that was absolutely amazing. And in addition to that, I mean to keep rambling, Maurice, his first investigation was Rockwood Mansion. He said the day after, yeah, he was tired, but he had never felt so alive. He felt so alive and so in tune with himself afterwards, which is why he wanted to keep coming along.
Ooh, I like that. I've never heard someone say that.
Absolutely.
That's, ooh, that just gave me chills, Joe.
Yeah, that's what he
Chills,
told us.
because, see, that's what I mean about the YouTubers or people that don't take it to the right level. They take it for the level of watch this video and like it and subscribe so we can come back here and do more videos for you. I don't want to hear that. Like, I want to hear what you just said. I want to hear that it has turned someone's life around in some way, that they've become more in tune with their spiritual self. Like,
Absolutely.
what are we getting out of it? That's what I want to know. That's why I want to keep, speaking with, all you people that are really in the paranormal investigations, because there has to be something more than just it's fun. I
No,
know
and it's exactly that. So I actually put a video out not too long ago, kind of talking about everything you brought up, and I made it very clear. I did not start this group so I can make it on the Travel Channel, so I can get a huge show. I didn't start this group to get 1 million followers. I didn't start this group, to get girls to do any of that. I started this group and my team is in this group because we absolutely love doing it. I can care less about a show, about the money. I have a very good job. I have a pension. I have excellent insurance. I have everything I need. So I did this strictly for passion. I'm not out there. Um, and a lot of teams, no offense to them if that's what they choose to do, but a lot of teams, they're spending copious amounts of money on advertisements and doing this and doing that. My page grew to almost 1,200 followers in 3 months, and I didn't pay a dime, and I refused to pay a dime for any of it because I wouldn't care if my page had 2 followers. I'm still enjoying what I'm doing. It just so happens that everyone else enjoys it too.
See, that's what I mean is the difference. And like I said, I guess I'm more in tune with my spiritual self, that these are still people. Like,
Absolutely.
this isn't for you to go in there and make fun and ask them 50 times to kick a ball down the stairs. Like, these were people. Like, come on. Like,
No,
it
absolutely.
just bothers me. It bothers me. So the fact that you're doing it, and you're damn right, it is expensive. You're putting out the money for it. And more people need to do that, because there are real people like me that do want answers, though,
Mm-hmm.
from real people like you that are doing it, not a fan base. It's I really want to, like, follow what you all are doing. So our last question, what would you recommend someone getting started with YouTube? But we'll be honest, a lot of them are in the younger generation, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But what would you say that if you're going to start it and do it for a right reason, or the right reason, do it the right way, and what they really should get out of it?
So the first thing I would say to whomever wants to get started is you need to educate yourself. Know as much as you can. It is written, and again, I have like, I'm not like a micromanage, but I have like things to help everybody out, and I put it in um our new investigator tips and rules. Become a subject matter expert. Like, try to know everything you can about what you're about to do. I'll just run through a couple of the new investigators tips and rules that I created. No provoking, be respectful, talk to the humans if they're human beings, what they are. Be specific, listen to your instincts and intuition. Absolutely no drinking or drug use during an investigation. Learn your equipment again, become a subject matter expert, know how to troubleshoot properly and safely. Always be a skeptic. Know your location. Um, there's just a few like the tips and tricks that I made, like new investigator tips and rules. But that's it. You need to know that if you want to do this, it's rewarding, yes, but there are times where you can put yourself in danger. And, we can save this for, I don't want to go off topic, but I've had stuff before investigations literally come and mess with me and hold me down, sleep paralysis. That was recently. You need to know what you're getting into. And you need to understand you're not going to blow up overnight. No one cares. If you do this for the love of it, you're not going to care about blowing up. We didn't even start a YouTube until we had some sort of like following base. I was putting all my videos on. I'm still, as of right now, until I can get Maurice up to par, I'm making all the videos myself. I never done this a day in my life. But you know what? Hey, they come out okay. So I'm learning new things every day, and that's something someone else should do if they're going to get into this. Be receptive, be open, be communicative, know everything, study everything, learn the rules of energy. There's more to this. You need to know about the universe. You need to know about the 7 rules of life. You need to know about, spirituality, soulmates, twin flames, past lives. There's so much more involved in this, and it's overwhelming. But focus on one thing at a time, and the other things will fall in line. That's my best advice I can give somebody.
That is like the most perfect advice. Exactly how you said it, Joe. Oh my gosh. Listeners, cabin crew, if you want to follow any paranormal group, any group of paranormal investigators, Astute Paranormal is your go-to for everything paranormal, because if you're looking for that realism, here you go. Get off the tube, get off where it's just, a bunch of fun and games. If you really want to know about the paranormal, pick a group to follow. I highly suggest, Joe and the Astute Paranormal Group. Joe, tell everyone where you can be found on social media, all your little go-tos.
Absolutely. So we are on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Our handle is Astute Paranormal Group, ASTUT PARANORMAL Group, GROUP. We're extremely heavy on Instagram. That's where the base of our following is. A lot of our stuff is put out there. Like I mentioned, the stuff that happened to me before Hinsdale, there's a short video about that, me talking about it. We're slowly migrating our videos over to YouTube. However, I'm not dedicating everything to YouTube. I want to keep everything on Instagram for the most part. But there are things on Facebook that we post. There are things on, Instagram that we post, YouTube that are all separate. We recently did a giveaway. So we're really starting to get rolling, and we take pride in, incorporating our followers and our supporters in everything we do. So give us a follow, like our videos, and stay tuned because we have a lot coming up. I'm trying to load the summer up with as much as I can.
All right, cabin crew, and that's a wrap on another episode of The Conversation Cabin. I hope you enjoyed my little talk with Joe. Please do go follow them on Instagram. Give them some love. I mean, to be honest, if y'all like watching the crazies on YouTube, do, scream at Ghost, and we'll go back here at this place if you get our video to 50,000 likes and all that hogwash, then you can at least give these guys some love and really get into what they're doing, because they really are the real deal. And I thought that's what we are supposed to be looking at when we're finding people to watch their investigations. I mean, so many people like to leave negative comments on channels on YouTubers. That's fake, or you could have done that. Well, you shouldn't even be watching the paranormal in the first place if you're going to be so negative and critical. Because somewhere along the lines, there are people that have shown that the paranormal is real. Where you've been, I don't know. But if you're going to at least criticize and critique, then go and check out Astute Paranormal Group, and let's follow and support their journey into finding the answers that we all want to know. So let's do some updates real quick. It's been a while since I've done some shout outs. You just get so wrapped up in researching and writing and editing. And so I would like to give a shout out to Twisted Chamber, the host, Kat and Natasha. Go check them out. Their podcast is awesome. They really get into some great subjects. Their most recent one is about near-death experiences. So I highly recommend that you check them out. Also, let me go and look. Oh, Spooky Appalachia. Jimmy. I see you, Jimmy. And Carissa's Podcast Hour 2022. Definitely thank you so much for being a supporter for me, Carissa. I really appreciate it. Dinner, Murder, and Mystery, which is another of my newest followers. Also, Voices from the Mausoleum. Give a shout out to them. Of course, Down the Rabbit Hole. You know who you are, David. And my friends, of course, Where the Weird Ones Are. Kevin, I hope you're doing well, my friend. The Cryptid Huntress. People, go and check her out on YouTube. You want to talk about somebody quite intriguing. She does remote viewing, discusses cryptids, paranormal, everything strange and unexplained, and she is also the real deal. So please go check her out. Go give her a follow. The Cryptid Huntress. Let's see here. My friend also podcast, which is Our Effin' Opinion. Host Sunyayor gives a wonderful, he just talks about things that are on his mind. A lot what we're all thinking that we don't want to say because God forbid we get canceled if we speak our truth. But anyway, go follow him. Go take a liking to his podcast. And of course, my friends Haunt's podcast, Vicky from Mrs. Spooky Obsessed, and Amanda and Rachel from One Nothing podcast. If you have not added them, please do make sure for everyone that I've mentioned, you have selected automatic downloads so you're always notified to when their new episodes have come out and dropped. Also, let's see, Tea and Cryptids. Thank you for being a wonderful follower of mine. I appreciate your support. The Cutest Cryptid as well. Let's see. 16% Nation. If you like everything spooky and cute, go check them out. Use my code, which is Explore Your Strange, and it helps actually support my podcast. They have cryptid plushies, handmade, by the way. But go and check them out on Instagram as well. They have plushies, Mothman, Wendigo, the Yeti, Bigfoot. Oh, they're so cute, but spooky still. And other than that, Saturday coming up, McCamey Manor. By God, this place looks fucking terrifying. It's a haunted attraction that not one person has really made it through. Actually, the part of the research that I've been doing shows that they will pay you $20,000 if you can complete the challenge, and no one has done it yet. So, but stay tuned for that episode on Saturday, and I got some great episodes coming up. Jack the Ripper, a UFO case that I love. It's from Brazil, and I cannot wait to tell you all about it. Some of my episodes you will know, I try to make it seem more like an audiobook to kind of bring it out, to bring the characters out, change up the music, get you just to pull you right in. Because what's the point of listening to a podcast if all you do is listen? I want you to envision you being there, feeling the goosebumps, the scary parts. So if you have any suggestions of anything that you want me to cover, email me at theconversationcabin@gmail.com. And other than that, cabin crew, until next time, explore your strange.